Welcome back to the 20th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy. Wow, 20th. That means after we're done with this one, we've only got 100 to go. But what a great 20 it's been. It's this show is, I don't know, it keeps getting better.
Yeah, it does. All right, so this is season 1, episode 20. Better luck next time.
I meant the series is getting better. I'm hoping we're getting better too, but
I hope so also. Episode aired Thursday, March 17th, 1966, St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patty's Day.
Director was James Sheldon, and the writers were Stanley Ralph Ross and Lee Orgel.
Right. And as I pointed out, I did some research, and I can confirm this is not based on an actual specific Catwoman story. I've obviously, it was talked about before. The character had been around for a while. She's in multiple Batman tales, probably more so than almost any other Bat villain. I think. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, this story in particular that this is adapted from is not adapted from anything specific. So.
All right. When we last saw Batman and Robin, they had tracked Catwoman to the Gato and Chat Fur Company. Robin was sucked up a plastic tube and disappeared. And Batman was left with a choice. 2 doors. One led to Catwoman and the other to a Batman eating tiger. And of course, Batman chose the door with the tiger. So he is about to be lunch. And before we move any further, we need to consult Magic Batman.
Gotta ask him the question.
Yes. So Magic Batman, is Batman going to get eaten by a tiger? Let's find out. We'll shake him up real good. All right. What's Magic Batman say this week? Not enough clues.
Well, that makes sense, because even Batman on the series didn't know. He couldn't figure out which was the right door. He picked the wrong door, which for him, for a guy who plays like 4-dimensional chess and is 14 steps ahead, that's a big boner.
Yes. All right, well, let's dive into it. Batman tussles with the tiger for a minute and then pulls out some bat claws. He uses them to climb the wall out of the tiger's reach. Catwoman, who's been watching on her security monitor, tells Batman he can't stay there forever. Eventually, his arms will tire. Catwoman does not like the sight of blood, so she is off to pluck Robin's feathers. TTFN, or ta-ta for now, Batman.
He doesn't even know what that means.
I heard the TTFN. I was wondering if that was something that was used back in the 60s.
I don't think it originates here, but who knows? It could. I don't know. I'm not. That I don't know. But Batman was not familiar with it.
No. So, but I was just curious about that. There's they could have, all the kids could have been saying it back then or something for all we know. Once Catwoman's eyes are off him, Batman reaches into his utility belt and pulls out his bat plugs and puts them on. Batman reverses the polarity on his communicator in his utility belt and then increases the audio modulation to about 20,000 decibels, knowing full well that it will split the tiger's skull. Once the tiger lays down and is docile, Batman jumps down. He runs into the room the tiger originated from and closes the door. Batman enters a hallway and puts a bat symbol on the wall. After a few minutes of searching, he comes across the bat symbol and he knows he's going in circles. So another indication that Batman's not a few steps ahead here. He's going in circles.
I did think it was interesting that when he was getting out of the predicament, the narrator had to tell us what he was doing because he
Yes.
doesn't have Robin to ask questions, right? So the narrator has to tell us, and he reverses the polarity on his communicator, which I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and that was a sort of a catchphrase from the Third Doctor era from 1960s, around like just shortly before this, where the Doctor would always seem to reverse the polarity to get out of certain situations, and he would do that. So I don't know if this is a direct uh, sort of like lift from Doctor Who, but man, it was the first thing that hit my head. So.
Well, maybe Batman likes to watch Doctor Who.
Well, he is an intelligent person, so I would say that I wouldn't be surprised.
Meanwhile, Catwoman's henchmen tie Robin to a wooden plank. Catwoman sprinkles Maximise de Paris choice catnip on him. Then they move him over to a pit of tigers. Filling up an hourglass like device with sand, Catwoman pulls a lever to release the sand. When it empties, Robin will be dropped into the tiger's pit. Batman discovers the room where Robin is being fed to the tigers. Using a batarang and rope, Batman swings in and saves Robin. A battle ensues with Catwoman's henchmen. Two of them are captured, but one escapes.
The Just real quick, the room where the that all takes place is really well designed. It looks like something out of a Roger Corman, Vincent Price, Pit and Pendulum movie or something. It just, the lighting on it and the scale of it. I mean, you have Robin, all 132 pounds, 10 ounces of him, laying there, as well as you've got three henchmen. There's a third henchman that pops up for some reason. He never gets a name. Catwoman's there. Batman appears in the window at the top. Like, it's just like there's a lot going on. They were not actual tigers down below. That was stock footage. They only had one tiger on set, and unfortunately, that tiger ran into a mishap with one of the cables. And there's some reports that it died. I don't know if that's true or not, but anyway, it was only used for the scenes with being attacked when he was attacking Batman, which I thought were filmed really well. I mean, a couple times you could tell that Batman had a white mustache, blonde mustache, but most of the time I thought it looked really convincing that Adam West was there getting attacked, playing with the tiger.
All right, since you brought up that room, I got to talk about that room. I don't know if you noticed, but all right, let me bring up my pictures I have here.
Yeah.
In
I don't.
that,
You probably, a lot of this is probably burned in your brain because of the ViewMaster, right?
yes, that and the fact I kept stopping this and looking and noticing stuff in the room. So in that room with the tiger's pit, there's a lot of things. I'm like, is this a medieval torture room or something?
Yeah, I know,
there
right?
was there was a
It's supposed to be a fur, like, retail warehouse or something, right? But instead, I mean, when they do the fight, like, they're using all kinds of like weird torture devices and
yes,
chains and stuff.
right. So what some of the things I noticed on there, there was a post with a bunch of shackles on it. Like you tie somebody up and whip them at that post. I also noticed over the doorway were two swords. We even saw one of the henchmen grab the swords and try to attack. I forget if it was Batman or Robin, but one of them with it. And then in the another scene in the background, there's like one of those racks where you lay somebody out on it and then stretch them. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, what kind of room is this?
Well, I mean, the way
So
Catwoman dresses, I mean, maybe she's into that sort of thing.
Maybe. And then, of course, we also saw one of the henchmen grab a torch and try to get Robin with it. So,
Yes, yeah,
yeah, this
yeah.
this room was very interesting.
Yeah, that was one. That's a room that I would be like, man, if I had, you know, uh, I know that they did a Wayne Manor and a Batcave playset for the Bat series of Mego figures and all that. But that room would be really fun to have as a sort of set piece to put figures on.
It would. All right. I want to backtrack a little bit too. When Batman's battling the tiger, we saw him go up the wall, right? So
Hmm.
when Catwoman turns off her monitor, he grabs out his earplugs. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but in one of the scenes, he's only got one earplug in, and his sound thing's going off. And then I think we cut down to the tiger, and then back to Batman. All of a sudden, he's got two earpieces in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Continuity
I don't
errors
know.
there.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was because one of them fell off during filming and they just said, let it go, fix it later or something.
They had
But
no
yeah,
idea we would watch it this closely, Drew.
no, they didn't. So I just thought, I was like, hey, where's his other earpiece? All right. Commissioner Gordon receives a call from Robin telling him they've caught two of Catwoman's henchmen. Catwoman and the henchman named Leo escaped. However, they did not recover the stolen cat statues. Back at the Batcave, Batman and Robin examine the cat statues.
Yeah,
Only
that's why
holy
that's why they didn't
geography.
recover them because Batman and Robin took them.
Yes. Holy geography. They discover that when the cats are put together, they form a map that will lead to the treasure of pirate Captain Manx. Realizing that the radiation from the cats rubbed off on Catwoman, they are able to track her with the batometer in the Batcave. While they are driving down a narrow.
Question. I got a question here.
Yes.
All right. So they figure out that there's a map. Bruce or Batman goes to the book of the history of Gotham. I think it's the same kind of volume that the Catwoman used in the first part. And says, okay, this is what she's after. She's after the treasure. We have a map here. And then they're like, and then they go, well, if only we knew where she was. And I'm like,
Okay.
wouldn't would aren't what just go to where the map's going to, and you don't need the radiation to track her because you've got the map, right?
I know. I thought things. I was going to bring this up after I did the recap, but yes, I noticed the exact same thing. I'm like, why are they worried about her radiation when they can just follow the map to the treasure? You know
Uh,
that's where she's going.
I did like the scene where he's, Robin's thinking he's pretty clever because they could, that they could follow her radiation, and Batman's just not impressed. He's just like, get that thing away from your face. And Robin's like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
While driving down a narrow road, the Batmobile sets off mines that Catwoman has planted in the road. While the Batmobile itself was armored, the tires were not and have gone flat. Robin repairs them by pushing an automatic tire repair device. Man, I wish my car would do that.
Well, they kind of have self-fixing tires now, don't they?
Yes, I think there's these cans of stuff you can get and plug in, and I don't know how well they work. I've never really used them before.
Yeah, yeah.
I always had I've even had to change a tire in the rain before.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think we've all been there. It sucks.
Yes, there's a there's one other time I remember. I went to Wizard World Chicago, which is about 3 or 4 hours from Indianapolis, and got a flat driving or heading back home
Yeah.
on I-95. It was super busy. I've got cars zooming past me while I'm trying to change the tire. And it's late on a Saturday night, so no tire places are open. I had to drive all the way back to Indianapolis on the spare tire.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
I
was it
have
fun?
gotten a flat coming back from a convention as well, and it's not, yeah, it's not fun. Oh man, yeah.
Okay. Catwoman. Catwoman has found the treasure of Captain Manx hidden in a cave. Wanting the treasure all to herself, Catwoman uses knockout gas on her henchman Leo.
Is it
Batman and
knockout gas? Like, I don't think she kills him, but it doesn't make any sense for her to really to leave him alive, does it?
no, it doesn't. But I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because Catwoman's not always a killer. But then
Well, we know she
again,
doesn't like blood, the sight
no,
of
she
blood,
doesn't like
but
blood.
she
Maybe that's
was
why she uses.
she was willing to put Batman and Robin through some pretty horrible deaths just a little bit ago. So
Yes, that is true. And I've lost my place. Batman and Batman and Robin arrive in the cave just as Catwoman is about to leave with the treasure. Catwoman retreats further into the cave. Batman and Robin chase after her, cornering her at a bottomless pit. Batman warns Catwoman not to jump, but she does it anyways, barely grabbing the ledge. Batman offers his batarang and rope to save her, but she won't let go of the treasure to grab it. Losing her grip, Catwoman and the treasure fall into the bottomless pit. Catwoman screams as she falls until her voice can no longer be heard. Back at Wayne Manor, Bruce and Dick continue their game of four-dimensional chess. Alfred helps Dick with his next move, but Bruce is able to checkmate him in the next move.
yeah, some help,
And,
Alfred.
yeah. If you're playing chess, don't have Alfred help you.
Exactly. Like, who are you working for anyway? Bruce is the one who pays his salary, so you know.
Yeah. Aunt Harriet comes rushing into the room carrying a black cat. She calls him a thief because he stole the lobster she was preparing for dinner. Bruce takes him from Aunt Harriet and gives him to Alfred with a look of frustration. Alfred hands the cat over to Dick. Now, I had to laugh because when Bruce took that cat, he did not look like he was happy to be holding it, and just like gives it to Alfred with an angry face.
Yeah, I
But
don't know if Adam's much of a pet person. I know, um, uh, oddly enough, um, I do know that Burt Ward is he and his wife have a sort of dog rescue group that they've been part of for decades now. It's one of the things, it's one of the passions of his life. And so yeah, he's very much, I mean, I don't know how he feels about cats, but because I think it mostly focuses on dogs, but yeah, he's very much a dog person. So I would imagine he um would care for most animals, but yeah, it does look like Adam is not really comfortable.
yeah, well, when Burt Ward takes the cat, he actually hugs it. I don't know if you noticed that or
Yeah,
not, because
I did notice that. Yeah,
they were kind of fading away from the scene at that point, but you see it really quick. So
yeah, no, I noticed that. I was like, yeah, because the others who are holding it don't really seem to have that much care for it. So
one of the other things I want to bring up, I forgot to bring up earlier, is when they tied Robin to that plank over when they're on the tiger pit.
mm,
They strapped him. They showed the straps on him, but after Catwoman sprinkles the catnip on him, the straps were magically not on him anymore.
yeah, he was like moving his hands around. I'm like,
I don't know if you noticed that.
why doesn't he just get off? Like, I just,
You just
yeah.
stand up, stand. I know. Robin's supposed to be an acrobat. He could just stand up and jump off there.
Wow,
But
this Dick Grayson might not be. I mean, we don't know anything about really his parentage or anything like that. So, I mean, he we know that he's fit and he's in good shape, and you know, and that he weighs 132 pounds 10 ounces. but we do not know that he comes from like the Amazing Graysons or whatever they were called. Yeah.
Flying Graysons.
The Flying Graysons. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, this is um nice recap. There's some really good stuff, solid stuff here. Catwoman is Julie Newmar is continually like stealing scenes and just owning that role,
Yeah.
doing a really great job. She's the when she goes to leave Robin to his fate, right before she goes up the stairs, she turns around and just does this sort of "Arr" move, like it's just like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's just. And then she shows that she's got a sense of humor, when she admonishes Leo when he comes back, just him and Batman and Robin have escaped. She's pissed, but she just goes, "This is another fine mess you've gotten us into." Like, like she does this Laurel and Hardy line, which is kind of fun. And then she falls to seemingly her death here, and I obviously, this is still early on, so I don't know. I would imagine that people were still savvy enough to know that, yeah, she's not really dead. But,
Right.
I mean, it's still pretty gruesome. Um, and, uh, you know, as we pointed out, there are characters that do die on this series a lot more than you would think. I mean, we've already mentioned a handful so far that have died, and and Leo might be one of them because who knows what was in that gas that she used. But she falls to her death, and it's like, oh man, that's kind of a shame. It's really striking, and if she's not dead, which, spoiler alert, we know she comes back, and she's still played by Julie Newmar, so it's not a different one. um although I don't know if Julie Newmar comes back this season. I don't know the series well enough to know if she comes back this season. So the next time we see Catwoman, it might be Lee Merriweather in the movie. But in any case, um, if she is not dead, which, yeah, spoiler alert, she's not. Um, that means she got away with the money. Like, and I don't know, we haven't seen a Batman villain get away with the money yet, and so she's the first Bat villain to be like, "Peace out. I'm." She might have like a broken leg or something, but
Or maybe she lost the treasure. It should have a flashlight down there.
well, that treasure, boy, they talked all about it and everything. When you finally saw it, I was kind of like, that's it? Like, it just didn't
Yeah.
really even look like it was that spectacular. Usually the prop people are pretty good about making things look bright and shiny and all that, but that looked kind of like, yeah, looked pretty worn and not very good, actually. Looked kind of rusty. But um the other thing I wanted to point out about this episode is, and I got a lot of this from the book series that Jim Beard edited called Zonk Zonk Zowie, Subterranean Blue Grotto Essays on Batman. They do an essay, and he features an essay on every single storyline that's in the series. And one of the things that are on this particular one, the article is written by look at you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Look who came to join us.
the article
Didn't
is
want to
written
miss out
by
on the Catwoman episode.
the article for this particular story is written by Mark Rykop. I hope I pronounced it right. Who is he owns a company called Fiberglass Freaks, and they build Batmobile 60s Batmobile replicas. And they work out of, or they, at least when this was done a few years ago, they operate out of Logansport, Indiana.
Well,
And
that's near me.
yeah, and they're full scale drivable cars. So in looking at, and the reason that he wrote this article or this essay on this particular storyline is because there's a lot going on in these two parts regarding the Batmobile. The Batmobile is used a lot We see a lot of devices, a lot of different things, from the bat laser, I believe, the bat beam that they
Hmm.
used to blow up the door, to the inflatable tires, as you mentioned. We find out that the trunk is lead lined with lead, so so that Superman can't see what's in there. That's because Robin puts the statues, the radioactive statues, in there. We see in the first part, we mentioned, we watch it be refueled. I mean, there's a lot of really, really cool things that happen with the Batmobile in this particular two-parter. And I have been fortunate enough to meet the original designer, George Barris, of the Batmobile, the '66 Batmobile, and I've been to a number of shows that have Batmobile replicas. I don't think that Fiberglass Freaks is the only company that does this. So I don't know if I've actually seen one of Mark's company's replicas. I would imagine if you've seen one in Indianapolis,
Hmm.
certainly at the comic shows there, or even in Chicago, I would imagine that you've probably seen one of his works.
So yeah, there was one a few years ago at Indiana Comic Con. I got to sit in it and get my photograph with it
Gotcha.
in
You,
it.
you
So
have
it
no
was
memory of
cool.
what who made it or anything?
No, I don't.
Yeah, yeah. That's
I don't think I paid that close of attention. I was very excited to be sitting in
sure.
it.
No, no, it's a pretty cool thing. Um, but apparently, he was talking about how when I think a couple things that were interesting about it is that when when George Barris uh was designing the Batmobile, he bought this Futura, which was a Lincoln Futura, 1955 Lincoln Futura, and it was a concept car. It's you can see it in this movie 1959 called It Started with a Kiss with Debbie Reynolds and Glenn Ford. It's all over that. So it's like every time that movie's on TCM, I'm like, there's the Batmobile, even though it's not the Batmobile. Um, but anyway, when George Barris, in order to create the Batmobile, he got a Lincoln Futura, and he paid $1 for it. In 2013, he sold that car, that first prototype, that Batmobile that he had designed. He sold it for 4.6 million.
Holy cow!
So that's a
There's a
pretty good.
profit.
Plus, plus he got paid, of course, to design, for his work on it. So, I mean, yeah, I think at that point it was the highest price ever paid for a movie or TV car, and I hope that's still the case, because to me, there's no other vehicle in movies or TV. I know there's a lot of iconic stuff out there, but to me, the best one ever is the 1966 Batmobile. I just love the way that looks. I have a whole bunch of replicas myself in this room, and I just love it. If I could afford $4.26 million, yeah, I bet that didn't cost you that.
No, it didn't.
So but one thing that this 1955 concept car did not have, as we talked about in the last episode, was safety belts.
Now,
So they had to put those in.
they also use that car. Did you ever see the television show Viper?
I did not see Viper. No, did they had one of these cars there too?
Yes, they used one of those cars in one of their episodes in the season one.
Hmm.
And I'm trying to think. Now that Viper show was produced by uh, Paul DeMeo and um, his partner. I can't think of his name. Can't remember what his partner's name was, but they
Okay.
also they were also the duo that did the Flash series in the
Oh,
90s.
okay. Gotcha.
I can't think the other guy's name, but anyways, they had that car in the Viper show, and I
Ah.
can't remember. I remember they also had another car in the Flash series, but I can't remember if it was that car either. I believe that was in the episode of Flash and
Danny Bilson is the other.
Danny Bilson. Yes, thank you, Danny Bilson and Paul DeMeo. So they did the Viper show, but they also did the 90s Flash show.
Okay.
So, but
Very,
yeah,
very, very good episode. Very strong episode. Very great. I mean, amazing debut for Julie Newmar's Catwoman. I mean, knocked it right out of the park. I still think some of the episodes that that feature her are better, but I mean, we'll see as we go along. But because I do miss the flirting. Here she just seems like a villain who's out to get him, and there's no real flirtation
excuse me.
between Catwoman and Batwoman. So I I kind of like that their relationship that way, their flirtatious relationship. So um yeah, so there's some stuff coming up, I think, that explores that a little bit more. But as far as a debut of this character, I mean, we waited a while to get it, you know,
Yeah,
19 episodes. But it was well worth it. I think
yeah,
definitely.
I totally agree. All right, well, that wraps up another episode. Did you have a shout out, Mike?
I do have a shout out this past weekend as we're recording this, not as this is airing, because we have recorded these well in advance. So, but I had the privilege to be at the SC Comic Con, South Carolina Comic Con in Greenville, South Carolina. It is one of my favorite shows to do. It is it was with their 10th anniversary. They've done 10 of them so far, in 11 years due to COVID, of course. But I had a great time. Some people came by, bought some books, chatted. There's a lot of cosplay, a lot of characters, a lot of folks dressed up as Batman villains, which I always love. I will take pictures of if you if you want me to take your picture at a convention, just dress as a Batman villain, especially from the 60s era. There was a person who dressed up as the 60s era Penguin, and I mean, it was an amazing outfit, just amazing. So I mean, it seemed like it was just right off the rack. It was really well done, and there was some others as well. Some good Batman as well. I don't think I saw a 60s era Batman there, but yeah, there was some really good other comic creators. That Jim Lee was there. I did
Cool.
not see him myself, but I understand that people who met him had great experiences with him. I did get to meet one of my loves for as far as acting wise and movies, and that's John Rice Davies, who was in who's Sal in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I love that movie. So anybody associated with that movie, I enjoy meeting them and talking to them about it. And so we had a photo op together, so that was pretty nice. It was a great time. So they do two shows a year. They do SE Comic Con, usually that's in the spring, and then SE Comic Con Junior, which is usually in the fall. That's usually a 1 day show. So I don't know what the dates are for the upcoming shows as you're listening to this, but if you're in the Greenville area, or you maybe have an interest in going to Greenville or sometime, check out this show because it's really worth it. It's always a fun time. A lot of great people, a lot of great guests, and the people who run it are amazing. So I can't say enough good things about it. It's probably my second favorite show of the year to do, other apart from Dragon Con.
I saw some of the pictures you posted online. Looked like you're having a blast. So,
I was. And like I said, a lot of yeah, there's a lot, you'll see a lot of if you go follow me on Instagram or Facebook or whatnot, you'll see a lot of the images that I took, especially the pictures of people who are dressed up in Batman 60s era outfits, which I just love.
all right. And for my shout out, I'm going to shout out about Ultimate Spider Man. There's a new version of Ultimate Spider Man out now, comic book. And I finally checked out the first issue. I was hearing good things about it. I checked out the first issue and I was like, whoa, this is great. So I just wanted to check. I just wanted to shout out about that. It's been a long time since I've read any Spider Man. And besides Batman, that's my other favorite character is Spider Man. So when I
Who's
heard
working on that
that
book, do
this
you know?
Spider, I think his name's Jonathan Hickman, I
Okay.
believe. You know what? I got my tablet right here. Let me check it out. But not
Is
only
it
is
Peter
the
Parker?
yes, it's Peter Parker. It's a older Peter Parker who's married with kids.
Hmm, interesting.
So yeah, yes, and this isn't the regular Spider-Man universe, obviously, but it's a very interesting universe. I don't know how much you want me to spoil of it,
No, I think
but
that
there's
yeah,
characters.
that's about it. But it sounds cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hang on a second while I bring up.
I remember that
I'll
the
tell you who
original
the
Ultimate Spider-Man was pretty amazing. If you'll pardon the expression, was pretty amazing read that Brian Michael Bendis wrote with Mark Bagley art,
Yep,
and that's where we got
yep,
Miles Morales, and he took over the book for a
yep.
while. And then it kind of went away. So this is like the first time it's been back for a while, I think.
Yes. And it doesn't seem like it's the same Ultimate Universe to me. It seems
Gotcha.
different. So, but let's see here.
Well, I think that universe was destroyed in some sort of, comic book event or something. So,
I
so I
wouldn't be
don't.
surprised. I don't think I was reading it at that point.
It happens.
All right, hang on while I find the. Here we go. Writer Jonathan Hickman, artist Marco Checchetto.
Okay.
I don't. I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but the artwork's really good on it. And here I'll give you guys a sneak peek by showing you the first page.
We can't really see much
You can't see that. Yeah, sorry. Check it out. If you like Spider-Man, I suggest checking it out.
I do like Spider-Man. Next to
If you'd like
Batman,
to,
I own more comics with Spider-Man than any other character apart from Batman. So,
same with me. Back in the 90s, I was collecting all the Batman titles and all the Spider-Man titles. Amazing
yeah,
Spider-Man, Spectacular Spider-Man.
there were a lot of them.
So there was a lot of them. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Leave us a message, text us, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right, you ready to get out of here, Batchum?
Sure thing. BatChums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, y'all. The worst is yet to come.